What if everything you thought you knew about World War II soldiers was wrong? The Italian army carried items so unexpected, so strange, and so overlooked that even historians rarely talk about them. So what was actually inside an Italian soldier's kit? First, we have the Carcano 91/38 rifle. This was the standard issue bolt-action rifle of the Italian Royal Army throughout World War II. It fired a 7.35 millimeters cartridge, though many soldiers still used older 6.5 millimeters variants depending on availability. Reliable and compact, it served Italian soldiers across every major theater of the war. Next, the Beretta MAB 38A submachine gun. Widely considered one of the finest submachine guns of the entire conflict, the MAB 38A fired the 9mm parabellum round with impressive accuracy. Its dual-trigger system allowed soldiers to fire either single shots or full automatic. German and Italian elite units both prized this weapon heavily. Let's continue with the Beretta 30 light machine gun. This was the standard squad-level automatic weapon issued to Italian infantry units. It fed from an unusual side-mounted fixed magazine that required a special loading tool to fill. While innovative in design, soldiers often criticized it for jamming in dusty desert conditions. Next, we have the Beretta M1934 pistol. This semi-automatic pistol was the standard sidearm for Italian officers and non-commissioned officers throughout the war. It fired the 9mm Corto cartridge and was known for being compact, reliable, and easy to handle. It became one of the most produced Italian firearms of the entire conflict. Continuing with the SRCM mod, 35 fragmentation grenade. This was the primary offensive fragmentation grenade carried by Italian infantry. It used a distinctive red safety sleeve and was activated by a friction igniter before throwing. Soldiers carried it on their belt or stuffed into their haversack for quick access. Next up, the OTO mod, 35 grenade. This was a Beretta-style offensive grenade designed to produce blast and concussion rather than fragmentation. It was favored for clearing enclosed spaces like bunkers and trenches. The two grenades together gave Italian soldiers a versatile close-range arsenal. First, we have the Bayonetta M 1891 bayonet. This long spiked bayonet attached directly beneath the barrel of the Carcano rifle. It gave infantry a last resort, close-quarters weapon when ammunition ran out. Its thin cruciform blade was designed to pierce rather than slash. Next, the Arditi fighting knife. Originally issued to the elite Arditi assault troops of World War I, this knife remained in use well into World War II. It featured a double-edged blade, ideal for trench combat and close fighting. Many Italian soldiers carried it as a personal backup weapon alongside their standard issue gear. Let's continue with the Elmetto M33 steel helmet. Introduced in 1933, this steel helmet became the definitive head protection for Italian forces throughout the war. Its low-profile dome shape provided solid ballistic protection against shrapnel and debris. The design was later closely studied and influenced several post-war European helmet models. Next, we have the Grigio Verde tunic. The name literally means gray-green, which describes the distinctive muted color of Italian military uniforms. This wool tunic was the standard upper body garment for Italian soldiers across all climates. It featured 4 front pockets and was designed to balance durability with a relatively comfortable fit. Continuing with the Grigio Verde trousers. Matching the tunic, these trousers completed the standard gray-green uniform of the Italian soldier. They were cut generously to allow ease of movement during long marches and combat. In colder theaters, like the Eastern Front, they proved dangerously insufficient against extreme temperatures. Next up, the Tello Mimetico camouflage cape. This was one of the earliest military camouflage items issued to any army in World War II. The distinctive Italian palm tree pattern provided effective concealment in Mediterranean and North African environments. It doubled as a shelter half and a ground sheet, making it one of the most versatile pieces of kit a soldier carried. First, we have the Sahariana jacket. Specifically designed for service in North Africa, this lightweight jacket was tailored for desert heat. It featured multiple large pockets, ideal for carrying additional ammunition and personal items. The The Sahariana became iconic and was widely admired even by Allied soldiers who captured them. Next, the Bustina field cap. This soft-peaked side cap was the everyday headgear worn when the steel helmet was not required. It was lightweight, compact, and could be folded and tucked into the belt or pocket. Unit insignia and rank badges were typically displayed on the front fold of the cap. Let's continue with the Scarp mod. 34 leather boots. These ankle-height leather boots were the standard footwear issued to Italian infantrymen. They were resolable in the field and designed to withstand the rocky terrain common across Mediterranean battlefields. However, they offered little insulation and were deeply inadequate for the Soviet winter campaign. Next we have the Gambale puttees. These were long wool or canvas leg wrappings wound from the ankle up to the knee over the boots. They provided ankle support during long marches and helped keep debris and mud out of the boots. Soldiers spent considerable time each morning properly wrapping them before moving out. Continuing with the Zeno mod. 907 backpack. This was the main load-carrying pack of the Italian infantrymen, first introduced in 1907 and still in widespread use throughout the war. It held personal items, extra rations, spare clothing, and additional ammunition. The simple leather and canvas construction was sturdy, but offered limited carrying capacity compared to Allied equivalents. Next up, the Beretta MAB. 1,891 ammunition pouches. These leather ammunition pouches were worn on the front of the belt and carried rifle clips directly. Each pouch held a set number of 6-round clips ready for rapid reloading. Soldiers typically wore 2 pouches, providing enough ammunition for initial contact with the enemy. First we have the Cinturone mod. 891 leather belt. This heavy leather belt served as the foundation of the entire load-bearing system for Italian soldiers. All pouches, the bayonet, the canteen, and the haversack were attached directly to it. Its brass hardware was a point of pride, and soldiers kept it polished even in the field. Next, the Tascapane mod. 907 haversack. This small square canvas bag was worn on the right hip and held day-to-day essentials the soldier needed quick access to. Inside went rations, personal hygiene items, and small tools. It was separate from the main backpack to allow faster access without unloading all gear. Let's continue with the Borraccia mod. 1,907 water canteen. Water was often the most critical resource for Italian soldiers fighting in North Africa and the Mediterranean. This aluminum canteen held approximately 1 liter and came with a felt cover to slow evaporation through cooling. In desert conditions, managing its contents carefully was a matter of life and death. Next we have the Gavetta mod. 1,907 mess tin. This oval aluminum cooking and eating vessel was a standard part of every Italian soldier's kit. It could be used directly over a fire to heat rations and doubled as the soldier's eating bowl. The lid served as an additional plate or shallow cooking pan. Continuing with the Scatoletta Carne canned meat. Italian field rations included small tins of canned meat, typically beef or pork mixed with vegetables. Soldiers nicknamed them in ways that were not always flattering, and quality varied dramatically depending on the supply situation. In North Africa, supply shortages often meant soldiers went days with severely reduced rations. Next up, the Paletta mod. 1,907 entrenching spade. This short folding spade was carried on the back of the pack or strapped to the belt. Digging a fighting position was among the first tasks every soldier performed when halting in a combat zone. In the hard, rocky soils of Italy and North Africa, this tool was absolutely essential for survival. First, we have the Piccone entrenching pickaxe. Issued alongside or in place of the spade, depending on terrain, the Piccone was a small military pickaxe for breaking hard ground. In North Africa and Sicily, where the earth was often too rocky for a shovel, this tool was indispensable. Squads typically had a mix of spades and pickaxes distributed among soldiers. Next, the Mascara Antiguus M31 gas mask. Carried in a dedicated cylindrical metal canister worn on a shoulder strap, this gas mask reflected the trauma of chemical warfare from World War I. While gas was never widely deployed in World War II, Italian doctrine still mandated its constant carriage. It added significant weight and bulk to an already heavy combat load. Let's continue with the Tilo Tendamod, 1,929 shelter half. This rectangular canvas sheet could be buttoned together with another soldier's Tilo to form a small two-man tent. When used alone, it served as a poncho, a ground cover, or a makeshift stretcher. Every Italian soldier was issued one and was expected to maintain it throughout their service. Next, we have the Pacchetto di Medicazione first aid packet. This small sealed packet contained basic wound dressings for immediate self-treatment after being hit. Soldiers were trained to apply the bandage themselves or assist a comrade while waiting for a medic. It was typically tucked into the tunic breast pocket for the fastest possible access. Continuing with the quinine tablets. Malaria was a severe threat across the Italian campaigns in Africa, the Balkans, and southern Italy itself. Soldiers were issued quinine tablets as a preventive measure and required to take them regularly. Despite this, malaria casualties among Italian forces were significant, often rivaling combat losses in certain theaters. Next up, the Bussola Prismatica compass. Officers and senior non-commissioned officers carried this prismatic compass for navigation across open terrain. Italian forces operated across vast open deserts where landmarks were absent and accurate navigation was critical. The prismatic design allowed precise bearing readings, even in difficult light conditions. First, we have the Occhiali da Sole desert goggles. For soldiers serving in North Africa, eye protection against sand, dust, and intense sunlight was a practical necessity. These goggles had tinted lenses and an elastic strap designed to fit over the helmet or bustina cap. Without them, sandstorms could temporarily blind an entire unit. Next, the Cappotto Militare greatcoat. This heavy wool greatcoat was issued for cold weather operations and became tragically important during the Italian involvement on the Eastern Front. It fell short of providing adequate protection against Russian winters that regularly dropped below -30 degrees. Thousands of Italian soldiers suffered frostbite and cold weather casualties due to insufficient winter gear. Let's continue with the Luce-Pistoli flare pistol. This single-shot signal pistol fired colored flares for communication between units across distances too great for voice or runner. Italian forces used both domestically produced versions and German-supplied Leuchtpistolen. Flares indicated positions, called for support, or marked targets for artillery and aircraft. Next, we have the Bodeo M1889 revolver, one of the oldest weapons still in active Italian service during World War II. The Bodeo was a 6-shot revolver originally designed in the late 19th century. It had been the standard Italian military sidearm since before World War I and was still found in service among support troops and second-line units. Despite its age, it was rugged, simple, and reliable under field conditions. From rifle to revolver, from camouflage cape to quinine tablets, the Italian soldier of World War II carried an extraordinary range of equipment across some of the harshest environments of the entire conflict. These men fought across the deserts of North Africa, the mountains of Greece and Albania, and the frozen plains of the Soviet Union. Their gear tells the story of an army that was often undersupplied, but never without courage.